Job 14, I mean. Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. You know, some reference Bibles say this thing is a whale or a whirlpool. Whirlpools don't have teeth. Check it out. You'll see. His scales are his pride. Scales? Whales don't have scales. They're a mammal. They have hair. They give milk. 2,000 pounds a day. Utterly ridiculous. His scales are his pride. Shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. This guy's got scales you can't poke a spear through. They are joined one to another. They stick together that they cannot be sundered. By his neesings. His what? His neesings. You know, when the King James translators came across this word in the Hebrew, it's the word atish. And it means blowing air out of your nose. They got together and said, fellas, how are we going to translate this word? We don't have an English word that means blowing air out of your nose. They said, well, the only thing to do then is to make up a brand new word. It's kind of like sneezing, but it's not really sneezing. So they made up a brand new word, neesings. You're looking at it. Only place it ever appears in the Bible. Never before, never again. By his neesings, when he blows air out of his nose, a light doth shine. What? When he blows air out of his nose, a light shines. That's what it says. And his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils go a smoke. Now that's no big deal. I've seen deacons do that on the front steps of churches. As out of a seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. Brother Hovind, you say, is this talking about a fire-breathing dragon? Yep, sure is. You say, come on, this is just symbolic. This is like, describing Satan. Because Satan is called a dragon. It's a symbolism. Well, it's true, Satan is called the dragon. But he's also called a lot of other things. He's called a serpent, and there really are serpents. It wouldn't do any good to say Satan is like a serpent if there wasn't a serpent to compare him to, would it? He's also called a roaring lion. The devil's like a roaring lion, and there really are lions. And the devil is called a dragon, and there really were dragons. You say, come on, Brother Hovind, you believe in fire-breathing dragons? Yeah. I got 4 reasons why I believe in them. Let me tell you my reasons why, and then you can tell me all the reasons you don't believe in them. I'll be glad to have a nice discussion with you about this. But reason number 1, it's pretty hard to read that passage in the Bible without coming to the conclusion that this critter could breathe fire. Wouldn't you say that's the obvious interpretation of that verse? I mean, if you gave that to 5,000 people, all of them would come up with the same idea of what it's trying to say. Wouldn't they? That's the obvious interpretation. The Bible says the critter could breathe fire. Secondly, there are hundreds of legends about fire-breathing dragons. Why do so many countries have legends about fire-breathing dragons? I mean, don't you think that's kind of a coincidence? If they're just making up the story, why didn't somebody have a fire-breathing hamster or something? Why is it always fire-breathing dragon? Kind of a strange coincidence, don't you think? Thirdly, it is chemically possible to do this. To mix chemicals together and they burn their enemy. That's what bombardier beetle does. You can get World Book Encyclopedia Science here 81 edition and read about the bombardier beetle. They've got this beetle glued down with a drop of yellow wax on his back and a paper clip stuck in there. He's clamped into a ring stand so he'll cooperate for the photographer. And then they reached up with the tweezers and pinched his front leg. The beetle is thinking, man, there's that ant. He's biting my leg again. Those guys never learn. This beetle has a cannon back near his hind end. He swings it around at the enemy and blasts his enemy with 212-degree chemicals, the temperature of boiling water.